Peace. This is Star with the Star Blooms. I wanted to share about a treatment that I did last night to heal a part of my inner child. One, I wanted to just bring it to you all's attention. Excuse me. Excuse me. Confirmation. Thank you, Spirit. I couldn't even move. I literally was just sitting right here waiting for my video to upload, and then I started thinking about the treatment that I did. So when it comes to inner child healing, y'all, I look at it and I believe that when it comes to like parts of our inner child, they're literally like frozen in space and time somewhere, waiting for you to basically come back and uncover, the truth, defrost this space with your energy, with your nurturing, with like validation, with being able to offer a coming together, a healing moment for yourself at a rate. And the reason why this happens is because a lot of the time inner child trauma occurs as a child. And if it isn't something naturally with, it's not, not normal. It shouldn't be, but it's not normal that a lot of things that happen that cause and create trauma for us as a child go unhealed and unchecked. So it then becomes our opportunity to be able to go back and retrieve those spaces of growth for us. And it's not necessarily just growth. It's like I said, it's an unthaw and it's an unfreezing. I choose certain treatments, and the reason why I do it this way is because trying to address anything all at once in one sitting is, you'll find on your healing journey, is really impossible. One, because there's so many layers to even healing just one thing. You know, each time you evolve, so because you've evolved to a certain rate, even how you previously perceived how you healed something before, you'll come to a deeper and a different heightened perspective, a different understanding. You will gather more information on how to basically utilize your energy in a way to where things show up different for you. You are different, the more you heal. So you're going to be different the more you go back into these spaces. Um, I didn't think that I needed to do a certain rate of healing when it came to my parents, because I told myself that I was straight, like kind of like dismissive a little bit, not recognizing that there's still so much that lives there dormant based off of the things that have been left. And one of the things that we don't really give ourselves the ability to perceive is that when it comes to certain rates of actually retrieving those guardians, um, major, I was going to say arcanas, when it comes to like your father and your mother wounds, right? There's a placement for that child that they are needed for, and you don't really want to perceive it that way, because you start to basically think about others people's participation, their agreement, their ability to basically show up for the title, to show up appropriately as you require it in the position. And none of that really matters. It's about how you basically allow yourself to come into fullness and wholeness in that moment by retrieving the part of you that has been stuck in this space, or hiding in this space, or that's been trapped, or so-called trapped in this space based off of whatever it is that occurred. One part of me that I was able to like release was the ability to basically not consent to certain things, and not consenting to engagement that I didn't agree to. And a big thing for me was scapegoating, because you perceive yourself as the problem based off of how you've been conditioned to, characterize yourself. And you don't really know about deformation as a child. So when you're in a rate of constantly putting on, the outfit that other people want you to basically wear so they could be deemed or seen as a certain rate, you have to basically go in and not necessarily just break away or chip away at the things that were placed on you that was wrong, but you also have to be able to go in and petition and speak for yourself the life within yourself that actually gratifies you at a rate to where you're like, okay, first of all, I don't mind tending to you in this space. I looked at myself in a rate to where it was almost as if something that is extremely, extremely toxic, and not toxic, but imagine like an element that is so dangerous that it has to be like cared for, at a certain rate. And because it has to be cared for at a certain rate, even the thing that you put it inside of has to have certain levels of defense placed on it based off of the fact of if it gets out of this containment, right? Then it's going to create or cause a hindrance or affect a space in a certain rate. And how my team did it for me, they placed me inside of a rose. Now, if you imagine like this huge life-size flower, right, that is so fragile, yet you feel as if you are causing so much harm, that you have the ability to be so destructive, that you believe that you're going to tarnish, and then this thing that is fragile is clinging to you, like encapsulating you, embracing you at a rate to where you're able, one, to not only release the perception that you have of what you had previously been characterizing yourself as, but also be able to be at a rate to where you could finally receive a space that actually has something for you. A lot of us don't know that when we harbor certain energies, when it comes to those major placements in our life, the major connections in our life, when you harbor certain energies, you don't recognize not only the implication that it has with you, but it also has implications of how you show up in relationships. If you think that you cause a lot of problems because you've been deemed as the problem child, you will constantly you'll put labels on yourself, believing that you are something that needs to be handled, at a certain rate. You'll want to show up because you believe that you're a burden, right? And be useful to spaces, and not ever really show up and allow yourself to be given or seen for. You'll constantly want to find ways to be worthy of the thing that it is that you're desiring, constantly taking a shortcut or accepting less, and not allowing yourself to be choosy or picky on what it is that you're requiring, because you believe that it's a privilege for you to even have the opportunity to be in the space of others, not actually being able to be in the wholeness of who it is you are, because you may not recognize that you were always the privilege to have and behold. We don't really know the things that we don't know until we know them. And I say this all the time because it continues to unfold for me, like I said, and evolve based off of where I'm at in it and how I've basically come to different layers and levels of understanding with it. It is so powerful to allow yourself to continue to envelop in healing parts of yourself, but also honoring the parts of yourself that you deemed unhealable, which is the connections that you can't necessarily perceive on a physical side. But if you address them spiritually by going through your shadow work and doing what it is that you need to do, you have the ability to actually still have what it is that you require. Spirit literally placed, an energy with me, and that is with my inner child, that she's always needed, and that's never going to change, and it doesn't require anybody else's agreement. And I wish I could just give this to everybody, but I know that everyone has to come to the conclusion and to the decision within themselves to start going back into, them inner selves and healing their inner child, and actually allowing themselves to come to the pieces of themselves that may have been frozen, and to integrate them and become whole with it in order to show up in their adult life as the authoritative, instead of allowing themselves to be moved and pulled by the things that they don't know that they're stuck at, because they haven't had the ability to actually perceive it with their right eye. It's super, super powerful. I just wanted to share that the more you allow yourself to be open to things that you don't 100% understand, but you curious enough. Like, curiosity is a beautiful thing, y'all. Okay. You have opportunities there. 222. That's beautiful. 1026. I love y'all. Peace.